Hello everyone, I'm Trisha from SNA and I'm turning 17 this year. Moving on to my second question of my CCR, how does your product engage with the audience and how would it be distributed as a real media text? So in this presentation, I would like to talk about the question and I would like to explain more about the question. My teammates and I's film opening genre is horror, which points out how this film is aimed at teenagers and above, or you can call them young adults, which would be the age of 13 to 30. We decided to put an age restriction due to how it might not be appropriate for kids below the age of 13 since our film opening includes unsettling characters such as ghosts and blood, which could scare the young kids as they would be traumatized at an early age. So this film opening is not mature, it's not suitable for kids, and it also might not be a good influence due to the mature themes. Our director Alena chose the age restriction to be around 13 to 30 since it might not be appropriate and they might not also enjoy the film. For my film opening, I chose the age range from 13 to 30 since nowadays making the age range 13 and above, or how we can call them young adults, can attract more audiences starting from the age of a teenager above. And the main character in my film opening is also a high school teenager. The scenes of my film opening does not include any physical harm or any harm such as murder, stabbing, or anything to do with killing. Therefore, this film opening is still appropriate for teenagers 13 and above since they are old enough to understand, because there are a lot of kids nowadays seem to get easily influenced by anything they see on the internet. Following what I have mentioned above, this film opening we made is allowed for anyone who is over the age of 13, but to expand it is more targeted to those who are fans of horror genre films, given that there are still a bunch of teens who are not a fan of horrors, how they hate it since it would scare them away and give them traumas watching horror films. Yet on the other side, there are still lots of audiences who are interested in horror films, how they would really watch and get the message of the film even if it is a horror film. Moving on, besides all what I've mentioned, today I'll be talking about the topic for my CCR question 2, which is how does your product engage with the audiences and how would it be distributed as a real media text? For my product, I would choose to distribute it through digital distribution such as Netflix. Netflix is a streaming service that I would use to distribute my product since Netflix has the highest streaming service. Based on digital trends, Netflix is the biggest streaming service in the world. The company reported that there are 282.7 million global paid memberships as of quarter 3 in the year of 2024. Digital Trends also stated that the number was up 1.8% from the previous quarter and up to 8.3% year over year. Therefore, I'll release my film on Netflix since it would have a higher chance of becoming more successful or more profitable compared to releasing my film on other streaming platforms nowadays. Besides the fact that it would be more successful as it could reach a large numbers of audiences. The internet stated that there are more number of audiences that uses Netflix from the age of 18 and above. Not only that, the users of Netflix are like Gen Zs and the millennials using Netflix also. This may due to the fact that the ages of 18 years and above, like the millennials, are responsible and old enough to make their own purchases and to subscribe Netflix. However, some may ask how about the kids ages 13 below. The ones who are already responsible enough to make their own purchases can make a family shared account in Netflix that they provide for kids. To sum up, I found statistics by Statista where they stated that there are a total of 91% of Gen Z watching horror mostly on Netflix, which is what I wanted my target audiences to be. Next, I would like to talk about why I prefer strictly digital distribution channels compared to the non-digital distribution. I did not choose non-digital distribution because since the COVID-19 started, the technology in this world has risen. Since during the time we were not able to go to cinema, the technology allows us to do everything from home. In this case, it allows us to watch and stream everything on the internet where everyone is able to access it from home. So from there, it shows how nowadays the technology would allow audiences to consume my media text. To support my argument, I would like to include one of the theorists I studied before McLuhan's technological determinism theory, where McLuhan stated that the society will always adapt to the growth of technology, how the technology nowadays can shape how we interact with the media text, as it has decreased the number of people coming to the cinema ever since the growth of technology. In this world, according to people, sources like Lemonic.fr, 29% of respondents said that they went less often to the cinema, and 12% said no longer at all. And according to a Wall Street Journal survey, 65% of the Americans prefer to watch movies at home compared with the 35% that said they would prefer to watch it in theater. This may due to the fact that it is more convenient to watch movies at home since it will take time to go to the cinema and buy the ticket, etc. And most films in the cinema will only be the popular films by the famous production, whilst there are a lot of movies on Netflix that were made by small companies. After all, I explained that I have mentioned above how I would want to distribute my product. I would now want to explain how I would need the use of marketing for my film to attract varieties of audiences. Not only there are a few ways for you to market your product, there are several strategies for you to market your product. In my opinion, I think digital marketing will be the best and the most effective way for you to allure new audiences. Since there are more people nowadays that are more actively engaged on the internet, like what I've mentioned above, therefore, I would market through social media such as Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, as they have the most active users compared to other social media platforms. There are a lot of Gen Zs and millennials on the social media platforms I mentioned, which are my target audience. So, with the help of those social medias, I would be able to reach my goal and reach my targeted audiences. And that is it for my presentation on this topic of how does my product engage with the audience and how would it be distributed as media text. Thank you for listening.